Good morning, entrepreneurs and founders, and welcome to How to Get Funding Fast and Efficient. Today, in this live stream, I want to take a little step back in time, so to say, and address a very important topic for those of you who are just founding a business or in the very beginning of your journey. Maybe you are in idea stage. And so you are trying to figure out in the multitude of information that is available to you out there online, what are some of the most important things that you should focus on in the very early stages of your business. And actually, so this live session today is particularly for those entrepreneurs and founders who are in the beginning of their business journey. And I'm going to share with you on a very specific topic today, and that is namely whether or not you should incorporate a company. This is a very frequent question, a question that most of you have when you are in the very early stages of your business. And thank you for joining me today live. And I'm very curious, before I dig deep into the topic today, just let me know in the comments, where are you joining in from? What is your business in? And I'd be happy to connect with you and learn more about what you are up to at this stage. Good. So I'm Avocat Olivia Marcu-Iordanescu. I do these live sessions every week to go through specific topics of how to get funding fast and efficient for your business idea or business. I address topics, legal topics related to funding, and how you can actually leverage your legal assets and the legal status of your business in order to get funding fast and efficient. And I share some of the most powerful strategies that I've used and applied with my clients who have gotten funding over my 16 years of experience. So today, like I said, I really want to address particularly those of you who are just founding a business, because a question that very often arises is whether or not you need to incorporate a company. And I want to give you sort of like a framework for you to be able to make this decision fast for yourself. I'll say generally from a legal point of view that, of course, incorporating a company should be the very first step in going forward, and even thinking in the future about getting funding. Having an incorporated legal entity is going to be a requirement from your investors or lenders or angel investors. So no matter what type of funding you are seeking to get, having a legally incorporated entity is going to be a requirement from their side. But at the same time, I can understand that you can, for instance, be in a very early stage where you only have an idea, or where you are so focused on working on your product, on developing it, on doing your market research, on talking to potential clients or customers, that these initial legal steps might not seem like essential. And I have many examples, not only from practice, but also from friends of mine who have started businesses, and in the beginning, incorporating the company or doing the legal paperwork was not necessarily their priority, so to say. Okay. But like I said, the intention in today's session is to give you a framework to make this decision powerfully for yourself. And how I'm going to do that is that I'm going to look with you at what are the benefits of incorporating a company, and at the same time, what could go wrong, what type of legal risk you are exposing yourself to when you don't incorporate a company in the beginning of your business. And By the way, this topic that I'm sharing with you today is also a very huge component of my 5 legal hacks free guide that I put together for any entrepreneur who is in the beginning of their business to support you in this particular stage of your journey. So if you're interested in having that, DM me. I'm going to drop the link in the comments and you can download it for yourself. And yeah, I see I have eyes on me now, so people are starting to slowly tune in. Great. Thank you for joining in. So you can download the 5 legal hacks free guide that I prepared specifically for entrepreneurs and founders who are in the beginning of their journey. And there we look at including at the topic of whether or not you should incorporate a company. So let's begin. Without further ado. And like I said, I want to look at this with you from 2 perspectives. The first perspective is the benefits of incorporating a company. Now, in most European countries, in order to do business, to be allowed to trade, in a particular market, you are actually required to incorporate a legal entity, to have a legal structure in place that is separate from you as a person. So basically, legal entities are a construct, in fact, to distinguish between you, the person who is behind the business, and the actual business. So one of the first benefits is that without incorporating a company, you cannot conduct trade. You cannot do business. So you have to look into that locally with your local law and see whether or not this is a requirement, and in principle, and mostly it is. And there are sanctions in place for that. So there can be fines, or you really need to be careful in terms of whether or not this is a legal requirement in the jurisdiction where you plan to operate. Okay. Another benefit is, like I said, that, and this is really, really important, is that you want to separate the company, the business that you are building, from yourself. What does that mean? It means in terms of liability that you will, in some cases, and depending on the type of company that you decide to incorporate, on the type of legal structure that you decide to register, you will have the ability to limit your liability and to separate your personal liability from the liability of the company. Another benefit is, like I said, if you will want to raise capital to get funding, this will be a requirement. So you will need to incorporate a company in order to get funding. Another benefit is transfers of shares. And not only transfers of shares, but granting special rights in relation to the shares in the company, in your business. So depending on the type of legal entity of company that you are incorporating, you will be able, and you might want to choose a type of company where you are able to freely transfer the shares and to grant special rights or to restrict transfers of shares. So you really have to look into that. What is the most beneficial model for you? You might want, being also in the beginning of your journey, to consider, since you don't have funds to pay your team, how can the company structure support you in incentivizing your personnel? Maybe not with a salary per se, but perhaps you can use a structure whereby you can grant them options on your company's shares. And so this would only be possible in a construct where you incorporate a company, right? So this is very, very important to keep in mind. Other considerations can be optimizing your global tax position depending on your permanent residence, the structure of your team, but also on the products and services that you plan to provide. And the market that you are planning to go in. Very often nowadays it happens that you are based in one country, but you are actually targeting a market in the USA or in Canada, or sky's the limit. So you really have to look into also what would be the best legal structure for you from that point of view. Now, we said we're also going to look at what are some downfalls of not incorporating a company. And that is, like I said in the beginning, depending on the jurisdiction that you're looking at, you may be required to do so. And if you don't, then you are liable to pay fines and or not be able to apply for an important license that you are required to have in your business. And that can really give you a bad start, so to say. Now, what else? You also will need to look into how are you known to the public. In many instances, you are required to have headquarters, or even on your website, if you have a company website where you are presenting your offering, your business, your mission, right, you are required by law to disclose to your customers where the headquarters of the company is, where they can reach out to make complaints. And so not doing that can trigger a huge trust issue with your clients and your business partners, because people will be wondering, okay, so where is this business based? Are they trustworthy? Can I make a withdrawal of my order? Where do I reach out to them? Do they really exist, right? So that's a very important aspect of it. And then also not having a company incorporated is actually putting in jeopardy all the intellectual property that you are creating in the company, and not just you alone, but also the team that you are working with. And beyond the intellectual property, the trade secrets, the know-how that is being developed there. You want to have that protected, and protecting it in many instances is registering those rights, or where a registration of your intellectual property is not possible because it's not recognized as intellectual property. But for instance, where trade secrets are involved, or know-how, then the only way to protect that is through contract. And not incorporating your company is basically putting all of those assets in jeopardy. What else? Yeah, like I said already, and I think this is the most important downfall, is that no investor is going to want to invest in your business unless you have a company incorporated where all the assets are being owned and exploited and legally protected and secured, and they can see a track record of your company. And so this is a very important point as well. Now, the question of when exactly to incorporate the company, like I said in the beginning, generally I would say the sooner you do this, the better. And because you are going to be creating inside of your legal structure, inside of your company, not just your ownership of capital and the segregation of liability, the distinction of liability between yourself as a natural person and the company, the business. But also, like I said, you will be able to protect your intellectual property, to sign contracts, to enter into agreements with your business partners, with your team. Your team themselves are going to want to be protected, to know that they can enter into a contract with you. And so overall, this gives you the legal framework under which you can actually operate the business. Now, thank you for being here today. Let me know if you have any comments or questions. I'm happy to answer them in the DMs, in the post, even after the live show. I really wanted to take the time today to look with you at the reasons why you should incorporate a company when you are in the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey. And I look forward to seeing you again next week for how to get funding fast and efficient, where I will be going live on Thursday at 10:30 Central European Time, and also leaving for you the link to the 5 legal hacks free guide, so you can go ahead and download it and implement all those steps in your business if you are in the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey. Thank you. Bye.